Solving corruption in the construction industry. Let's look at a solution. Hello everyone, I'm Florian Heise, and welcome to a new episode and the beginning of a new series of episodes at Heise Says. I want to call it Solutions, and I want to address particular issues on a range of topics that I discuss, but from the perspective of a solution, how to solve the problem. I know a lot of people enjoy watching my content for interesting takes on a variety of things, criticism of what we're receiving in the news, contrarian opinion, and just grey-haired cynicism from a middle-aged father. But I'd also like to start talking and addressing solutions, and often positive things or ways to address problems can get lost in a lot of the noise, particularly if people are worried. So I'm going to try and do this series, solutions to different issues, and get it out there to get people to discuss. Now, I'd like you please to share this content, share this channel, and get these ideas out there so we can spread solutions to a lot of the problems that we are facing. We don't all need to glue ourselves to the road to discuss ideas. Internet is a fantastic medium. We can talk to people all over the world and get ideas out. So on this first episode, probably even called a pilot of solutions, I want to go back to a video I previously did that didn't get much attention, probably because of the way I titled it, and look at the dual or two certification system, a way at addressing a lot of the corruption and issues that we're finding in the construction industry throughout the entire country here in Australia without getting the state to step up. I don't know, I'm just too cynical. More legislation doesn't seem to be the solution, guys, because we already have it. So please, we'll jump back to another Florian in the past and have a look at this previous episode. And now the first of solutions. If you have any suggestions of other episodes or topics you'd like me to discuss, and I'm going to experiment with some different approaches to do it. It may, I can see a combination of pre-recorded things and live episodes, and looking at doing, the drawing on my tablet to argument mapping and things like that. So if you have any suggestions, please pop me an email, leave a comment, or send it to me on the Discord board for ideas, solutions, and we can bring it all together and get it out there. So guys, thank you for joining me. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I will hand over to previous Florian. Take care. Hello everyone, Florian Heise here, and welcome to another episode of Heise Says. Now, I've been going through a lot of issues in New South Wales and around Australia with our construction sector, particularly the loss in confidence that consumers have in development, in apartment living, and the buildings that we have around, understandably because of all of the construction issues that we're seeing again and again and again. Now, one solution is to renationalize the building certification process and get the state to control that part of the process. I thought, let's look at some alternatives, and I had one viewer call me up and make a suggestion, and I thought we'd look at that and discuss that today. And I'd like to call that the dual certifier system, where instead of having one certifier, we have multiple ones, and this can be done right now by any developer who chooses to take on that responsibility to ensure their project going forward is going to be rigorous and have a point of difference to the others. I'd like to see this as really a market-driven approach to find a solution to what we're having. It looks like you've got a few rogue operators, because how many of the certifiers in New South Wales repeatedly had one faulty approval after another, to the point where you've had people living for 10 years in a building on just an interim certificate. Okay, there's an example. And so I thought we'd do a bit of sketching and just theory craft some ideas about how this might work to get a dialogue going. And leave your feedback in the comments, guys, if you think this is just pipe dreams, but I thought we'd have a look at it. So I've got my surface here, and what we'll do is first we'll just have a look at, imagine this is your project, okay? Going on from the start of the project to the completion of the project. Now you've got a few points on there. This is a timeline, and you've got the first one here, which is your DA. We'll call that development approval, and then here you've got construction approval. Now these are two significant milestones in the project. And then finally, you've got another one, well, not finally, but one that's quite important, is the certificate of occupancy or the certificate of classification, those type of things. That's when you occupy it. So the DA, that's when you get development approval from the council. That means the council you'll have all your drawings and you'll get a set of documents that you'll prepare, which have your drawings and everything to a development application point of view, or a level of detail, and council will prepare documents and have conditions on those that you need to abide by. Okay? And the certifier, they are responsible for making sure that you abide by those conditions. Then you have construction approval. And this is where the certifier will give you building approval, will give you building approval to proceed with the documentation of the job. It's almost like my screen is running out of ink. I think it's playing up a little bit. So you've got building approval. This is where the certifier will give you a certificate or approval to proceed. Will stamp the drawings, and those are the construction drawings that you have to build. Now, they need to conform very closely with the DA. They need to meet the requirements of the DA that the developer or the certifier and the council have recommended in here. So the council has said what is required of the DA. The BA drawings, the construction drawings, need to achieve those requirements and meet these, tick off these issues. So the certifier has to ensure that it meets the DA requirements. Then the BA also has to specify all of the building code requirements. So the Building Code of Australia or the NCC, BCA or NCC. So that's the big book. And hang on, I'll get. Come on. So here you go. Here's the last one. You can get it free online now. This is the 2016 version. They're fun to read. Put you to sleep in an instant. So that's really when the certifier has to make sure that your BA documents comply with those requirements. And there's all the other consultants and things that come in. And then you have the certificate of classification, certificate of occupancy, depending on what state you're in. That's when you occupy the building. That's when you're allowed to occupy the building, when it's deemed to be practically complete. Okay, so the issue arises when you have only one certifier doing the process. So when you only have one, the issue is that there's a potential for a conflict of interest arising. So say you've got one certifier here, and he's just stamping off everything because he's working with the same people again and again and again. So what we would do is, hang on, I've got to just sort something out. Okay, I think I fixed that issue. So what we've got is we've got a situation where you've got three stages in the project: the development application stage, the construction documentation or building approval stage, and then you've got your certificate of classification stage. Now, what we'll do is, the proposal is that we move from a system where you just have one one certifier here approving everything. Okay, and he's hired by the builder, and has the potential for a conflict of interest that can arise because of repeat work. And we've just seen, you can't tell me that it doesn't happen. We've seen it happen in the industry. So what I'd propose is the dual certification system. So you've got two certifiers, and they can both be in the market, or you could have a lottery that applies number two, randomly from the profession. The method of picking that one is irrelevant really for this argument, but you've got all the different issues that the certifiers check, comply, make decisions on, because we don't want our building code to lose its flexibility. Okay, that's the one thing that we need to realize. Like this document, the flexibility in this huge document, and I got the current one back there, but the flexibility in the building code is fantastic. Australia, in some ways, really is. We don't want one that's purely prescriptive, because that will destroy a few competitive advantages or just innovation that we can have, which is a bit worrying. So the idea is you've got two certifiers on every job. And maybe we say it's just jobs at a certain value, but here's the thing, that say there's one decision here, they have to agree
to each decision. And if we go back, no, so it has to rectify, and they need to reach a consensus on it. Or if there's one here and he's going no, and they disagree, they can't reach a consensus, that's when you go to a third certifier to review and make the final call. Now you think, oh, Florian, but this is so much more paperwork, it's so much more expense. But from a project, I can tell you right now, the certifier's portion of the fees of a multi-million-dollar project isn't that significant. Guys, we're not talking that large an amount in the grand scheme of things. But this is a way that you could market your project in such a way that, such and such development here, we're ensuring, dual certification to make sure there's no risk of dodgy deals. We've got the right people on the job. We've invested in professionals. Twice the checks, twice the review, twice the compliance, twice the insurance that you could chase if the worst happens. So, I would argue the market could respond to this. This is a completely stateless solution. You don't really need the government to dictate an approach like this. This can be done just with what's currently in place, the professionals that we currently have, and it's going to really be a lot harder to get two dodgy operators. I know you'd want to make a rule that it's not people in the same company, or you'd want to advertise that it's not people in the same company. You're getting another professional to check the work, and this is just one part of the process. It's to deal with these rogue operators that are in the certification game that are being taken advantage of. And then what you need to do, the next step, is to get the market involved, to get average mum and dad who are looking at buying an apartment or looking at buying an investment property, turning this into a branding in such a way. Like, you've got the Heart Foundation brand, you've got this brand, the dual certification stamp of approval, addressing the rogue operators. We need to get the marketing guys onto it. But, for a small increase in cost in the project, you could provide additional peace of mind to people. We can avoid getting the government to mandate it, because this could still be done right now. There is nothing stopping a developer doing this. There's nothing stopping the certification industry, their professional bodies, promoting this as an approach to deal with the rogue operators. And sure, people will just say, oh, they want to make double the money, yada, yada, yada. I'm sure if you had two guys, working it, they could work something out. It could be like an extra set of eyes, an engineer's reviewed. It would be easier to do your site inspections when you've got two. You obviously want them going out both at the same time. But there you go. So that is an idea, a suggestion. So I'd like to open it up to the comments. What do you think? Do you think this is a pipe dream? And do you think it could work? The dual certification, dual certifiers as a way of dealing with it. Anyway, guys, please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for joining me for this episode of Heise Says, and I will see you all again next time. Bye for now.